Welcome back for part 2 of the engine teardown video. This one will be about getting the turbos off, not snapping any of the bolts. As you can see, the engine is behind me, the turbos are off, and whether or not I did snap anything or I broke anything, or if it was easy or difficult, you'll see in the next few clips. So stay tuned for that and hope you enjoy. To start taking the turbo off, I'm gonna get this cable out the way. But I won't like to, I don't know what it is. I know it's off the power steering pump. There's only one pin, so it could be an overtemp thing, maybe, but I don't know how that would work. Let's try and get that off. That's off. That's out the way. That's not a problem. Now, first things first, I'm gonna have to try to get this off. So these nuts. There's four in total, very rusty. With the way this works, is because the exhaust, as the engine cycles, the nuts get hot, then they cool, then they hot, then they cool. You basically tend to essentially weld themselves to the studs. Chances are, most of the time when you crack these nuts, you snap the studs, which isn't great. But if you put penetrating oil on them, like WD-40, and then heat them up with a blowtorch, because the nuts expand ever so slightly, you get enough leverage on them once the penetrating oil's gone in through the threads to break them free, get them off, and then you can pull this pipe off without snapping any of the studs. Happy days, we all go home happy. So I'm going to drown these in WD-40, give them a brush down first, drown them in WD-40, let it settle for a little bit, heat them up, and then once I've heated them up, I'll try and break them free and see how far we get. Again, I haven't got an impact, but if I had it, I wouldn't use it for this because it may strip them. If you're not bothered by that, then just go for it. But again, that's my personal opinion. You can still snap them with a ratchet or a breaker bar because it's all about your leverage, but I'd rather do it by hands. At least if you can feel when they're about to snap. So if you know they're gonna snap, game over. Whereas with an impact, if you just put it straight on, it'll probably just snap them straight off on the first few ugly duggers. So yeah, penetrating oil, heat, and good luck. Now we'll heat them up, hopefully the nuts expand, crack it with the ratchet, and if all goes well, I'll be so happy. And remember, if you use this method and get lucky enough to get the nuts off, do not grab them after the fact. I know it's force of habit to grab once you've loosened it, but don't touch that nut for that reason. Yeah, I've cracked it free. Bit more WD-40 just to break into the thread now that I've broke the seal. Get it hot again. Like that, I've got the nuts off, low snap stud, and I'm one happy fella. Now the other three. If you're new here and you like what you see, click that subscribe button to follow along with the build and to see everything else that gets done to the car. If you like what you've seen so far, click the like, and my Instagram is up on the screen now. Go give me a follow on that and you can stay up to date with daily updates on the GTO. Right, so got all four nuts off. Unfortunately, because of the heat and how gold up they were, some of the studs, like this one here, stripped out near the end. It's not that bad, it is fixable. I can change the studs if I need to. But I'd much rather that than fight with broken studs and drill into the turbos. Just remember, now that you've heated all the studs up and stuff like that, all this, even this here, warm to the touch. But the blowtorch was over here, so obviously metal conducts heat. Just don't grab it straight on where you were heating because you'll burn your fingers. Now it's loose. Right, so we've got the nuts off, let the pipe cool for a bit. and now we can just slide it straight off. Lovely stuff. Now we just need to get the other 3 bolts out the bottom. We can lift that turbo off after, well, I've already disconnected the oil return, and then this is off the engine. So we've got the nuts off, bottom of the turbo, top of the turbo, but there's always one that snaps right there. To be fair, you could probably still use the stud, but I think I'll change it. But anyway, turbo's unbolted, lift it off, and then move on to the front. So now that the nuts on the studs that mount the turbo to the manifold are off, and the oil return line's been disconnected, we can just lift the turbo off and move on to the front. And just like that, the turbo for the rear of the engine is off. So I've spun the engine round to the front, and looking at it, I think the front turbo is going to be a bit more difficult than the back. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the top, they have 2 Allen bolts. Now, based on the condition of the bolts, they're either going to strip out, which means we're going to have to drill, or the heads will probably snap. So if you're ever replacing bolts or something like that, it's always best to try and use hex, purely because you can get more of a bite on hex. Whereas if you use Allen heads, it's going to be a bit awkward if you ever need to take it back off. So basically the same process as the rear. I'll put a time lapse on me taking it off, and if we run into anything, I'll slow the time lapse down, talk you through it, and we'll crack on.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.
I think this one's going to snap every stud to try and get off. So yeah, this should be fun. I would much rather these Allen bolts snap than strip. At least if they snap, they'll come off. If they strip, I'm going to struggle getting it in there to try and cut it out. We'll soon see.
Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche, we're on the road.
So it turns out, whoever has changed, messed around with, or mounted this turbo previously, got focus. Not focusing. There we go. So that bolt at the back, that's a nut on an Allen head bolt, as opposed to a stud with 2 nuts. So hopefully, if I can't get that Allen head at the back out, I can get a spanner underneath. If you can see it, get a spanner underneath where that nut is, get some mole grips on the top, break it free, and get that turbo off. Slowly getting there. I'll cut the time lapse and I'll come back to you when I've got it off, because this is going to take a while.
3 hours later.
Managed to get it out, but look at the stretch on that bolt. It's not what you want, but it's out. I can fit it properly with the stud. We're good to go. So the only thing left now is the turbo oil return line, and then this front turbo is ready to come off. Well, we got there. Turbo's off. There. Turbo gasket. Copper wash it. It's hot. So this is the engine as it sits. Rear turbo's off. Front turbo's off. Intake runner's off. Plenum's off. PCC leads are off. Thermostat housing's off. So I'd say we've done quite well for today. There's your two turbos, your exhaust, thermostat housing, plenum, intake runner, cam covers, fuel rails, few wires, and the engine ready for the next video. So guys, that's going to be all for today. I think we've done quite well, got a fair bit done. The engine's already looking a lot more bare, and we had a few hiccups, snap studs, snap bolts, snap nuts. Well, it's to be expected, especially when you're working with exhausts, so bear that in mind if you ever start doing your own exhaust or turbos. But in the next video, we'll do the aircon compressor, the alternator. We'll just keep stripping this down until we get down to the block, and then when we're at the block we can build it back up, put it back in, and soon enough be driving down the road. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, whether that be criticism, positive feedback, anything, I'll read it all. As you probably figured out, I'm new to this YouTube. I'm trying to find my feet, and I'm kind of just winging it, which is probably what you saw in today's video, but I am trying, it is difficult. But yeah, so I'll hopefully see you in the next one, and the build series will continue, so thanks for watching.